I didn't really get a chance in my other video to do any common binomials examples in this factoring binomials completely lesson here, so we're going to do just a couple of those just to give you a little exposure to that. The first one is actually pretty simple. If you take a look at what you have here, you have 3 times x minus 2, and you're adding 4 times x minus 2. So there's really two different ways to simplify this. If you have 3 times x minus 2, that means you have 3x minus 2's, and then you have 4x minus 2's. So really you could write that as 7 times x minus 2, which is really one way to factor that. Or the other way you could write that would be to recognize that if you're multiplying two different things times the same thing, you could write that as 3 plus 4 times x minus 2. So each of these things times this one thing. You could see that if we weren't going to add those together right here, we would just FOIL them back out. So we'd have 3 times x minus 2 and 4 times x minus 2. And we'd end up right back where we started from. So really we're pulling that 4 minus 2 or that x minus 2 out because it's a common term to both of these, but there's more than one way to simplify it. Let's take a look at the second one here. This one is one that might throw you originally if you don't look at it really carefully. And that's because they don't look like they're the same. We have 2 times y minus 1, and then we're subtracting 2 times negative y plus 1. So these two terms inside the parentheses here don't look the same. But here we have a subtraction or a negative symbol. So this second term is actually going to be multiplied by a negative number. What if we split up this negative 2 first and multiply by negative 1 before we multiplied by 2? So in other words, we'd be looking at 2 times y minus 1 minus 1 times 2, this whole thing, times negative y plus 1. So we're taking this negative 1 times 2, which is the same thing as negative 2, and we're multiplying it by negative y plus 1. So we'll just do the negative 1 part first, and that'll give us 2 times y minus 1, and then negative 1 times negative y, well, that's going to be positive y, and negative 1 times positive 1 will be negative 1, and we still haven't multiplied by the 2 yet, so we still have the 2 outside, only now it's a positive 2. Now they match. Now we have 2 y minus 1's and 2 more y minus 1's, so we can pull those both out, and either we can write that as 2 plus 2 times y minus 1, or we can just add these together. If we have 2 of these and 2 more of these, that gives us 4 of these. So either one of these is fine. This is sort of the factored method, and this is the really simplified method. All we're really doing between the second two options here, between this one and this one, is adding those two 2's together. But really what we're looking for is the idea that we can pull this y minus 1 out of both of those. Let's take a look at one more example. 4x squared plus 10x minus 24. This is one that takes a couple of different steps. The first thing we want to do is pull out the common number here. Everything here divides by 2. So we'll pull that 2 out first. That'll give us 2x squared plus 5x minus 12 inside. And then we'll factor this trinomial. We have 2x times x, and we have either 3 and 4, and they're going to have to be negative, going to have to be one positive, one negative, because they have to multiply to be a negative number. So either positive negative or negative positive, or 12 could be 6 and 2, or it could be 12 and 1. And of course these will all be positive, negative, and negative positive because we want that negative answer to the multiplication problem. So that'll be our second check, and then we can do our check diagonally. 2x times negative 4 be negative 8x, and x plus 3, that would be 3x, so that would be negative 5x. That one doesn't work, so these signs don't work, but that was pretty close, so it may just be the other signs. 2x times positive 4 would be 8x, and then x times negative 3 would be negative 3x. That does equal 5x. So it looks like our numbers are 2x minus 3 and x plus 4. So now we're at 2 times 2x minus 3 times x plus 4. And that's factored completely.